G'day everyone, it's Dave here, Dave Mills, with an exciting video, and I think you're going to be very, very happy with it. Okay, and we're talking about the Scotch Gambit, the main line of the Scotch Gambit, and I want to emphasize with you that if you actually practice this and you actually use this and you learn the traps involved in the Scotch game, you're going to win a lot of victories. Now you don't see it, and you don't expect it, and you're going to certainly to a player that likes to respond to e4 with e5. It's certainly a great weapon to have. And because you're going to have a lot of people who are going to try and trot out from the Scandi to the Sicilian to the French defense. And now after d4 and the pawn takes, c3. It's the main line. And obviously I think d takes c3 is a typical line, because after d takes c3, knight takes c3. Okay, now and then d6, all very, very typical. Now instead of d takes c3 here, after c3 you can be met with d5, but then you just calmly remove it. And after queen takes d5, alright, c takes d4. You gotta not be afraid of isolated pawn positions. You gotta know how to play them, obviously, if you're gonna play the Scotch game. And then after bishop to g4, obviously weakening the isolated pawn, very solid move. Bishop to e2, see a pin, break a pin, and now, if you're in this position, white is actually looking to play knight to c3, bishop to e3, and castle. Alright, you got that? Knight to c3, bishop to e3, and castle. And white has a really fun, solid attacking game. And if you love attacking chess, if you love dynamic chess, then these ideas are going to be just right up your alley, and you're going to completely throw them off. Now, going back, alright, after d takes c3 instead of d5, alright, knight c3, alright, is the main line of the Scotch Gambit. And remember, sacrificing one pawn is worth activating 3 pieces. So after knight c3, d6, alright, bishop c4, just a lovely move, very aggressive, controlling d5, and threatening that weak cog right there. Bishop c4, knight f6, with this 2-knight defense, we've seen this is quite solid. Queen b3, now the knight can look to harass, but typically what happens is the queen goes to d7, and what that means is after knight a4, the queen can't go and harass that knight, and if you check with the if you check with the bishop, you can be blocked with the pawn instead, and there's lots of threats, and it's queen d7 has a lot to say for it. So white continues on with the momentum, plays the most aggressive move. Queen d7 is good because it does guard obviously f7 as well. And so knight g5, continue the logical play. Knight to e5, very solid move guarding the f pawn. Bishop to b5, alright, obviously c6, and you're not worried about them capturing your bishop because you've got this move here, f4, very aggressive. It's actually right now. I would say it's a great position for the one who's attacking. Okay, the one who's accelerating their position with threats, checks, and captures is the one who is going to do the best here. And so C takes B5. All right, this is this is an example of how it can end horribly. F takes E5. D takes E5. Bishop E3. Oh, look at that! Just look at how the pieces are just developing. That's a beautiful place for the bishop. Very, very active, taking away a good square for their bishop, and also obviously allowing the rook to come in. So bishop E3, A6. Oh, A6, not wanting to drop the pawn. Rook D1. Very, very typical. Queen C7. Queen's trying to hold the dark squares in her group. C7's a very good square, but now white has control of the D file, which is quite ugly. Alright, and so do you see the move? Do you see the move? It's a bit of a tricky move here. I'm gonna just give you a second to see the move. It's really gorgeous. Now the queen's also had to keep a grip on this cog on F7. I've been mentioning because I've been wanting you to really think and see for yourself that this threat here, black hasn't had a chance to even take a breath. So the move is, because the queen is actually pinned to the defense of the F pawn, this move here, bishop B6, just very nice. So the queen's going to try and get rid of the double pawns, defend F7. That's the most active and dynamic move it can do. And so what would you do here? What would you do here? Now that your bishop is here, it's now combining, and they're combining on a square. Their momentum is combined at that point in space and time. So very, very nice. And what's a king to do? What's a king to do? Only one square to go. And so do you want to trade off queens? No, the attacker loves the queen. Alright, queen back to C6. Okay, the queen is trying to hold, she's trying to keep the family together. And do you see the move? Alright, I give it away with the cursor every time. Do you see the move? It's an absolutely gorgeous, it's a gorgeous move. The king can't, okay, let's have a look. Can the king go to E6? No. This knight is performing a very important job in netting the king. And so if, okay, I'm gonna give you the move. Check. If the knight recovers, it's mate.
Check.
Okay. Thank you, computer. So if the queen captures, is that the move? That doesn't work, does it? The king just takes the queen, and the queen, but yeah, it's not looking that like an easy position.
Check.
Do you see the mate with the bishop? Wasn't a mate with the queen. There we go. The queen's cutting the king off. The king can't go here. So check is mate. So queen doesn't work. Knight doesn't work. So after rook check, obviously the last one, why doesn't the king move? Don't need to tell you twice. There we go. So that is just an absolutely beautiful example position of what can happen. And yeah, rook e8 just totally crushing. I love rook e8. So after c3, d takes c3, knight takes. We're in a standard position, and d6 is a very standard response. So let's just go over it. Bishop develops, knight develops. All right, the barrage on the f pawn. That clever little queen move. Knight g5, and the game is favoring the attacker. And so there you have it. There you have it. That is my series on the Scotch Gambit, and you're gonna have so much fun. It's gonna be absolutely crushing. When you win your first game of the Scotch Gambit, it's like a drop of water in a desert. It's just fantastic. You just want more. You just want to guzzle it down. And there's so many traps in the Scotch game too that are just very gorgeous. So learn the traps. Learn this completely deadly opening system. Okay, and you're going to win so many games. And also it's a style of. It's a morphy style. It's a hacking attacking style. It's a fun style. It's beautiful, and it's just absolutely crushing. There's so many people are going to respond with their Sicilian or their Scandi. Or their French. I like responding with French, but. You meet somebody who plays e5, it's like, yeah, let's bring it on. Let's bring the Scotch Gambit out and just test them, all right? Right from the early start of the game, they're being tested. They may survive, they may know what to do in an open game, but you're going to get, in these open positions that you're going to get, it favors the attacker, so it favors the one who centralizes all the pieces, points them at the king, and doesn't play too much with their pawns, plays with their pieces, and does a really beautiful running game, and focuses on the cogs, centers of gravity. All right, take care. Bye.